Content for me used to be, we're gonna have a van and we're gonna like have a bunch of dudes on the BMX team and we're gonna get in the van like almost every day and go out and film bike tricks, and then after like 2 years we're gonna make a video and it's gonna be like 45 minutes, but it's gonna be everything we did for those 2 years, and we're gonna put this out, and yeah, it's only gonna sell a couple thousand copies or whatever, but the sections are gonna go online, and this is just like a yearbook, like a encapsulation of all these amazing times and hard work that we put in. And then that has turned into me just like having conversations with people on camera, and then you put it out and it's like you get to read a bunch of comments about it, and every once in a while you'll do an interview that has like real reverberations that'll have like a huge impact, and people will talk about it for years and years and years. But it's such a flooded marketplace at this point, whereas like in 2016 I felt like I had the whole underground rap world very like much open to me. Like none of this stuff had really
been explored
done.
or mined,
everyone I wanted to talk to, everyone I wanted to talk to hadn't really talked to anybody on camera, and now it's like a rapper could have like 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, and there's like some guy in their hometown that wants to interview them. So in a lot of ways, it's like the magic of why I started wanting to interview rappers has kind of vanished, and I'm always just trying to like figure out how to move this thing in different directions. A lot of that has become like just having like a crew of dudes who get together a couple times a week and just have conversations and trying to build something interesting out of that. But even that is like not nearly as unique or specialized as like what I was doing in the first place.
Something for both of you, I guess. This is so hard to do. Do you ever feel, not to turn this into a therapy session, do you ever feel isolated or feel like it's really hard to get a crew of people together that you jive with, you get along with all of them, but they're also like
good, like good at the act of talking about shit on camera.
Yeah, good at that. And the really hard one, third time sometimes, like has the discipline to actually like follow through. That feels like the hardest thing. Like I have so many memories like of my childhood where I think of people where I'm like if this person was still around, oh my God, it would be so, like I have a friend that I was really close to. We did poker. I drive and pick him up every Friday and bring him back, and we'd play like these weekend poker games and shit. Mm-hmm. When I was 20, I would always think that if he would have made it to when I was starting to stream, it would have been so good. And now when I look back on that, not to speak ill of the dead or whatever, but like I'm actually, maybe I'm glad that he wasn't there, because I don't know if he would have had the discipline to actually follow through. And it's so frustrating sometimes that there are people who are like, actually the best example I can think of is fucking John Zerka. That's a guy who is like a future multimillionaire star talent, but he needs somebody to rein him in because he doesn't have the discipline for it. Yeah, fuck, that's so frustrating.
No, I was thinking about that with Draco the other day, is that I'm like, as sad as I am that he died, there's part of me that's thankful that I didn't get to see him become like a guy who goes on everybody's fucking stream every other week. It's like, there's like and even though that was like 4 years ago, it's just like the content landscape has just become so much more bleak that I feel like it takes legitimate generational talents and waters them down unless they have the actual self-control to avoid a lot of that shit.
I mean, he's an interesting example, right? Because like I followed him closely. I covered his story and his death and stuff, and it was like he was somebody that had such a great talent for music, but he just couldn't stop insulting these rival gang members, making fun of this guy that got killed, just constantly poking the bear, and that ultimately ended up making him lose his life. And it's like you say, discipline. If he'd had the discipline to just focus on his artistry and stay away from the street stuff, that he was really bigger than by that point.
But okay, even think about, I have all these friends from the BMX part of my life that like are realistically some of my favorite people to talk to, and we're in the group chat all day talking about sending different links to BMX clips back and forth, etc. But none of those guys would make any sense on No Jumper as a co-host because they don't know about rap like that. And it's like there's a lot of people like that I've been friends with over the years that I truly love and cherish them and think that they're amazing people, and I'm glad that we have relationships off camera. But ultimately, they're just not really like useful to me in terms of what I'm creating on camera. And also, yeah, I'm thankful that I don't really get to see them get content brain and get their fucking soul eaten alive by the incentives of doing this kind of shit on a week-to-week basis, because I've seen so many people, like part of me realizes with No Jumper that it's like it's like an exposure machine. Like it's just, you take somebody who has some kind of energy around them, like Sharp, my piss drinking friend, he was like a dude who was getting like millions of views on Soft White Underbelly by just being like talking about being a pimp, and we bring him on No Jumper because I was like basically like, yo, I want you to like do sit downs with girls because he comes from this whole pimp world. We start doing that. We start feeding him all these different girls and talent to sit down with, and he just like wasn't really good at the conversational part of it, so he'd just scream at them and like totally unload on them, and it was like getting like millions and millions of views. But then like as time goes by and he's on the channel over and over and over, it just became like nobody wanted to watch. He went from getting millions of views to getting 10, 20,000 views, and I don't feel bad because he's a shithead, but then at the same time I kind of do feel bad because he like lost that aura that had him being like a million view guy when he would go on podcasts, and it turned into him being somebody that like almost nobody was interested in. And I've seen that play out with a lot of different people where like there's this arc on No Jumper where like you get introduced, and if they like you, you get built up, and they really fuck with you, and then at some point you do something that kind of pokes a hole in who you are, and then the fucking fall off. And then that audience, as much as they enjoyed building you up, they also really enjoy watching you plummet into being on their level.
Yeah. Have you seen the SpongeBob like ripped your pants fucking episode? Any idea what I'm talking about?
I don't think so. I'm too old for SpongeBob.
Fuck you.
I didn't grow up on it.
Too old for SpongeBob.
I grew up on Sesame Street.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Sesame Street episode. But it's describing that there was like I think he's at the beach and he leans over and he rips his pants and everybody laughs. And for the first like few minutes of the episode, he rips his pants over and over again and everybody's it's the most hilarious thing ever. But then eventually the people are like, bro, this is old. Like, get a new gimmick. And he's like, oh no.